This is Sean Ferguson with FlickDirect.com interviewing Jaime Murray for Fright Night 2. You're working on Fright Night 2 coming out. So tell me all about it.
Well, it's part of the Fright Night franchise, which is a great mix of comedy and horror, based on the idea of the vampire next door. But in our Fright Night, the vampire happens to be a woman. Jerry is a woman, and I play that vampire. And we see our students, Charlie Brewster and Amy and Evil Ed, they are taking a semester in Europe, and they end up in Romania, which is a great place for a vampire film. We went up to Transylvania, and we filmed in some real Castiles, which you can't beat that. I mean, they were truly gothic and freezing cold and very, very creepy.
So what's it like working on a big franchise like Fright Night? Because this is the first one was a remake, and now we're working on a new addition to it. So.
But it's great because you know what you're doing, you know the points that you've got to hit, and then you get to explore all these other kind of things and all the differences and complexities that you want to explore because you've got your given circumstances, it works, and it was really fun.
So what was your favorite characteristics of your character?
Well, I am really interested in the vampire myth and why it's so popular in today's culture. And I was studying a lot about this idea that, the vampire myth is based on the modern day phenomenon of narcissism and people who suck your energy and take your light and spirit, and how seductive and charming and shiny these people or these ideas seem at first, and then once you invite them in and once they have taken your energy and taken your sense of self and your freedom to fill their empty selves up, how truly ugly and dangerous they are. So that was really fun.
It sounds amazing. I can't wait to see it. So how does it feel being now part of the whole vampire? There's so many vampire movies out there, and now you're going to be part of that whole genre. I
know. Well, it was about time. I was like, I look like a vampire when I'm at the grocery store. I'm just like a skinny, white girl with black hair. I mean, you can't get more vampiric than me with my sharp features. I was born to suck your blood.
Well, anytime.
Don't I? On the best of days.
Very good. So I have to ask you, because I'm here and I know so many people are big Defiance fans. How is it like working on a series like Defiance?
It's great. I love genre, Fright Night included, and the sci-fi shows I've been on, because the stakes are so high. It's good versus evil. It's it's heroism. It's avarice and greed. It's hope and all sorts of huge themes to play with that are very fulfilling for us as artists, but hopefully very cathartic for the audience to watch. But the thing I love about Defiance is, we've constructed this whole complex world and society. And by doing that, and it's so fantastical, you get to re-examine very relevant issues from a whole new perspective. And I think that, we've really got something to say, and there's so much that's difficult to deal with in our own culture that we brush under the carpet, that you're able to re-examine in the sci-fi genre.
That's absolutely amazing. It's such a great show. So I have to ask you one thing, as a fan of a series that's going off the air right now. You had a part in Dexter for quite a while. So how is it like being part of a series that's now going away but had such a big impact on Showtime and some of the other series?
Well, actually, when I did Dexter, I hadn't seen it. It hadn't been aired in the UK. I just arrived in the US, and I auditioned for it without having ever seen it or read a script. I was just given these two scenes, and Lila, it was the scene where she was having the conversation in the coffee shop with Dexter after the NA meeting. and they were talking about the dark passenger, and I was like, what's a dark passenger? And it was kind of interesting, that scene. I wasn't sure if she was like saying poetry or rapping. I mean, I was so weird in that audition. I can't believe I got the role. But I didn't really know what it was. And my manager at the time was like, Jamie, you really don't seem that excited. This is an amazing show. And I was like, oh, honey, I haven't seen it. She said, oh, my God, I'll get them to send you the box set this weekend. Because it wasn't even out on DVD. And they sent it to me. And I watched it back to back over the weekend, and I had the read-through on Monday. And I went into work the biggest, geekiest, nerdiest, most nervous fan. I should never have watched it. I was completely overwhelmed by all the talent in the room and all those people and this world that they'd created.
That's amazing. So now you did Defiance, you got Fright Night coming out. What's next on the horizon? What would you really like to tackle in next?
Well, actually I go back next week to film the second season of Defiance. I'm super excited about it. We film until Christmas, so that's got me tied up for a while. And as I said, the wonderful thing about Defiance is we've created this whole new world. And I was reading the first 3 scripts on the way up here. And it's really exciting because you create these very interesting, complex characters with their own societies and own cultures, and then you set it up, and it's quite difficult to kind of get all these very big ideas to the audience, but we did that in the first season, and I think we did a really great job of that, and we did it successfully, and now we get to turn it all on its head and destroy it.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So, what's your favorite scene or favorite outlook of Fright Night? Tell me something about Fright Night that we need to know.
Well, I don't know if you're familiar. Well, obviously we filmed it in Romania and Transylvania, and there was an aristocrat called Elizabeth Bathory. I don't know if you know about this, but she lived in Romania, and she kind of was crazy and evil and a bit bored in her freezing cold castle with her husband away at war the whole time, that she there wasn't any TV, there was no internet, so she started kind of dabbling in the occult and the dark arts and sorcerers, and she came up with this very twisted and dark idea that the blood of young girls, particularly virgins, had anti-aging and rejuvenating quality to it. And so she started bathing in the blood of young girls. And this is all historical fact, she was actually eventually, she got into trouble, and she was accused of killing up to 66 women. So that's who we based Jerry on. So it kind of really grounded it in this really kind of monstrous history.
Wow, that's strange and yet kind of disturbing.
Read up on Elizabeth Bathory.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and we really enjoy you coming out and talking to us at FlickDirect.com.
It's my lucky. Where else do you want to be than San Diego Comic-Con? It's an assault on the senses.
Thanks again so much.